So I'm just going to start out today. I'm just going to talk about a couple different knives that are pretty much industry standard in the kitchens, and you know, probably in your own home, in your own knife drawer at home. You may not even know it. So we have a couple different little tools here. This is just a 7.5-inch paring knife. It's kind of, you know, it's one of my utility knives that I use quite a bit. Then we have a paring knife. This is a 2.5-inch paring knife. It's you know, this is probably one that I'll use today. Show you a couple little garnishes with, and we'll do a couple other things. This is a knife that is actually becoming quite popular. This knife right here. Does anyone know what this is called? So this is a Santuco. You know, folks nowadays in kitchens, they still use this knife.
I have that.
You know, this is the big French knife. This is kind of like one of those knives that's considered the workhorse. We call it the workhorse in the kitchen because you do just about everything with it. But it's quickly being replaced by one of these knives. Now this knife here is the Santuco. You can get these things anywhere. It's you know, you go to Williams in Sonoma. You go to, you know, you can go to the mall, pick one of these up in any one of these stores. You know, they run anywhere from, you know, you could pay $20 for one. You could pay $120 for one. You know, but this knife here is probably one of the ones that's becoming ever more popular in kitchens nowadays, and especially in professional kitchens. Anyone use one of these at home? Yep. This is it's got a hollow bevel right here. It's got some hollow holes, but it's got it still has a little bevel. It's a straight edge, yeah. Okay. It's, yeah, you can sharpen this. I'll show you one of my favorite sharpening tools that is kind of on the market. I don't know if anyone has one of these, but you can get one of these anywhere. It works
Is
great.
that for even knives that they say never ever need to be sharpened?
Like the Ginsu?
Whatever. There are knives out there you never have to sharpen.
Yeah, there are knives out there that they say you never ever have to. You know, most of those knives, you know, they might be a knife like a serrated, much.
Yeah.
You know, can go through anything, anytime.
Hey Joe.
Yeah.
David was saying that you can't find. Where can you find one of those? The sharpeners.
One of these?
Yeah, they're not easy to find. You can try to get them at the Swarthmore Hardware.
You could get one of these. Where did I see these last? I saw these at a kitchen store. Kitchen capers. Kitchen capers. That's where I saw one of these. At the mall in King of Prussia.
Right, but you won't find them at Target or places like
No,
that.
you really won't find them there. These actually, and they're fairly inexpensive. I think you can get one of these for under $10.
Yeah, it's $11 now. I just bought one. $11 now.
Come see me.
Okay, that's the deal.
I'll get you one for under 10. But it's a great little tool that you can use to sharpen. Puts a quick edge on your knife at any time. And keeps your knife sharp. Because, you know, one of the rules of thumbs is, especially in the kitchen, is what's more dangerous, a sharp knife or a dull knife? Dull knife, right? Anyone know why? Why would a dull knife be dangerous? Exactly, because you're working harder. The idea of a knife, and let's see, I'll just take a little bit of this right here. The idea of having a knife and using a knife, and I'll just take a little bit of this here just to show you. This is a good sharp knife. Not the sharpest knife, but it's pretty sharp. So it's very important. Got a couple other got one other knife here that's very important. And this is the knife that comes out around you know, the holidays, Thanksgiving. Very good knife for carving your roast beef, your turkey, your ham, whatever you're going to be carving. I think if you ever go to a Sunday brunch somewhere, or you go somewhere where they're having a carving station, probably 99.9%. So when, you know, one of the things when you're cutting vegetables or anything that might have an awkward shape is, you know, they tend to roll, right? So the most important part of when you're cutting vegetables is to make sure that you establish a flat surface on the vegetable that you're cutting. So it's very important when you have a vegetable like this, I mean, you could sit here and you can just do, you can do a little bit of a bias cut, but like if you're not comfortable with doing a bias cut with something like this, because it may roll on you a little bit, and you're just a little, you might lose that fingernail. Okay. What you can do is you can cut it in half, establish a flat surface, and now that's not going to roll. Whenever you say, like, if you see, you won't see someone just taking one, like, just pretend this is a potato. You won't be seeing someone just take something like this and just try to cut it like this. What the chefs are going to do is they're going to take one of these, they're going to establish a flat surface, so it's going to stop this piece of potato or turnip from rolling all over. A little bit about like when you are cutting, okay? So one of the most important parts is, like, the most important part is your knuckle, okay? Your knuckle guides the knife, okay? So it's very important that you let your knuckle guide the knife. And what I mean by that is, the tip of the knife should never leave the board whenever you're cutting or chopping, all right? So you should never be doing any of this stuff. The tip of the knife never leaves the board, all right? It's going to help you gain more control. So when you're holding a knife, your thumb, like that, so, okay? What you want to do is you want to make sure that you're grabbing the knife, okay? And then you just let it slide right across, okay? Now you can see that my knuckle right here is guiding it, okay? And what we're doing right here is I'm just doing a bias cut carrot, something you can use in a stir fry. And just using that simple rocking motion, nice sharp knife. The tip of my knife is not leaving the board, so I'm just using a rocking motion, and I'm letting the knife just go right through that carrot. Okay? Nice slice. All right? Now, let's get into something else. How about like julienne? Julienne. Same thing, okay? You're going to want to make sure that you're establishing a one flat side on the carrot, or whatever you're doing, potato, turnip, zucchini, yellow squash, or whatever. You want to just make sure that you're going to establish one flat side, okay? And then you're just going to just go right down. And again, using my knuckle as a guide, just making some nice slices in, okay? Now what we're going to do from here is just going to do some cuts. Now this would be a nice little julienne, a different cut. Now from this, what you can do is you can get your dice, do your dice thing, okay? So basically the same thing, all right? You're going to want to have that rocking motion, okay? And it's just nice and easy, simple. And depending on what type of cut you really want to do, you may want a little finer dice. You may want a larger dice. If you're making a stew, you might want a little bit of a larger dice. So let me just see this here for a second. So you may want to cut thicker slices, okay? And then you might want to get to thicker slices where you might, and you probably noticed I didn't peel this, but this is just to show you the dice. This might be a little thicker dice that you could use in a stew, pot pie mix or something. And so just a little bit. You know what they say about onions? If they're making you cry, it's not a fresh onion. It's something that's old. If it makes you really cry, it's really old. Because as it sits, and when you cut it, explode. And they, whether or not you know it, it just kind of it mists up in the air, and then you just end up breathing those in. So. And again, we talk about sharp knives. One of the important things about when you're cutting an onion, all right, so we have an onion. just a nice big white onion. And one of the things that you really want to make sure that you do when you're cutting an onion is to leave the core in, okay? Because what do you think that's going to hold it together? Correct. So I just like take that off a little bit, and then whenever I peel an onion, I just like to take the top off, and then I like to take the outside layer. Sometimes what we'll do is like in the kitchen, we'll save all of our vegetable scraps, and we'll use them to make certain things like stocks, vegetable stocks, which are quite popular these days. Okay, so I have an onion here. Peel, got the core intact right there. Very important because that's going to help keep it together. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut right down through that, and you can see that the core is, you know, right there. And one of the most important parts, especially if you're now, what do you think? What you want to do very carefully, okay? And yeah, you want to hold your hands like this, okay? And you want to just hold the top of it and just kind of slice into that, just a little bit. I usually do about 2 slices, okay? And what that does is that kind of like gets me going this way with the onion. Because, you know, there's so many different layers to an onion. Sometimes an onion might have like, where it looks like there's 2 bulbs going inside, where you need to do this cut. And then what I like to do, depending on how small or large it is, if you're looking for, say like you're doing tuna fish, I'll go very, very close together, okay? And just nice and easy. Just like that, okay? And you can do the same thing. You can actually do the same thing with your celery, with your carrots. If you put celery in there, you know, just, you know, a nice, like we talked about the julienne with the celery. Just do the same thing with your celery. You can make it a little bit smaller, and then you can just cut it right down. Perfect. Is that about as small as you like your onion? Not bad. Cool. So that's the onion. Now, say like if you're going to make an onion soup, okay? This might be a time where I take and I take that that core out, okay? Because if you leave the core in and you're going to slice this onion, what's going to happen is it's going to center in. It's going to be sticking together. And then when you go to saute it or cook it in your pot, if you're going to make a soup, onion soup, or whatever, you're going to make some sauteed onions, it's going to keep that clump together, and then you might chew in. Basically what I like to do is I just like to take it out, all right? Now that's going to help separate all this, all these onions. I can actually just peel it back now because that core that was once in there is now out. The onion, okay? And again, it's the same thing, okay? Same rocking motion, okay? Now you notice here, once it gets to there, you can, like, not only that, but in the cooking process, when you go to cook this in, you know, whatever you're going to cook it in, some butter, some oil, that onion will fall. There will be no core. So when I get down to this part right here, so I don't go any further. Basically, what I like to do is I get about 2/3 of the way through the onion, and then what I do is I just give it a quick flip, okay? And then what I'll do is I just continue on. Breathe through your mouth whenever you're cutting onions. I always tend to do that. I really didn't do it today, but you know, you really should try to, you know, breathe through your mouth whenever you're cutting onions, because